As the grandfather of the Apollo hoax theory, Bill Kaysing, rightly said at the end of his book, it will take the efforts of many experts to prove or disprove the moon conspiracy theory. But, as with any puzzle, the cooperation of many minds may solve it once and for all. That being said, I would like to correct a minor error made in my previous film, MoonFaker, Leapin Lunatics.
Hey John, this is perfect with the loom and the rover and you and...
We already know that this video of John Young jumping was filmed on Earth and then slowed down in speed, even though Shane Killian would have us believe otherwise.
Do the jumps look okay? Look at the arms. Isn't it clear that this is way too fast? These scenes were not shot in slow motion.
What we had done to obtain this film's speed was import it into Sony Vegas and raise it from 100% to 150%. Because the theory is that this footage was reduced to only half speed, it seemed illogical to increase it by 50%. If you've got a clip that's been reduced to half speed, all you need do is add another 50% to regain normal speed. However, what I did not take into consideration was that when a file is imported into any edit program, the said edit program will always recognize its velocity as 100%, regardless of what its speed had previously been reduced to. So, if you've got a clip reduced to 50% and import it into Vegas, Vegas now recognizes its 50% velocity as 100%, and thus speeding it up to 150% has only changed it to 75% of its original playback speed. Before I realized this, the propagandists had jumped on it, and my one little mistake had become their newest ammunition against me. Not one of these individuals addressed the fact that my sped up footage looks exactly like a man running in Earth's gravity, and instead, they all came crashing down on me like a ton of bricks over this one little mistake. Cheap shots like, Jarrah White never took a basic math class, and Jarrah says 1.5 times 0.5 equals 1. And, my personal favourite,
one of the most active moon hoax proponents, everyone's favorite Aussie with ADD, apparently can't do basic math.
To be fair, however, at least one of these vultures was kind enough to realise that what I did was an honest mistake. The fact remains, this clip, sped up, looks like a man moving in Earth gravity. To redeem myself, what we are going to do is work out the correct speed that this video was slowed down to. Okay, we're back again with the Sony Vegas and the Apollo Archive clip of the jump salute. Now I previously said that if you want to double it in speed, I'd have to increase it by 50%. I, of course, did not take into consideration that if you've got a clip that's been slowed down by half speed and you import it into Sony Vegas, Vegas will instantly recognize it as a 100% file. What we're going to do now is find out how slow this thing was actually reduced to. And insert the velocity. Okay, now we've increased it to 150% again. Now, just render that as an MPEG. Put it into Vegas now. Okay, now what we're going to do, we just make this clip longer. What we're going to do now So we're going to slow the Apollo archive clip back down to 100%. Okay, now that's where the clip ends. Now you see these little kinks in the video reel. That indicates where the roller film has stopped and then started again. So what we're going to do now is we're going to insert velocity, and we're going to get this kink to line up exactly with the end of the original Apollo archive clip. Okay, so let's just slow it down a bit. Okay, now we've got them lined up on top of each other. We'll lay them side by side.
Hey, John, this is perfect with the limb and the rover and you and Stone Mountain and the old flag. Come on out here and give me a salute. Big Navy salute. Hey, John, this is perfect with the limb and the rover and you and Stone Mountain.
Okay, it seems that this clip, playing at 100%, matches up with this clip playing at 67%. So therefore, what we can conclude is that this video, this one here, the Apollo 16 jump salute, was actually slowed down by 33%. Again, it was an oversight on my part by not taking into consideration that when you import a clip into Vegas, right, it will always recognize every clip you import as 100%. So, for that I apologize to my audiences, not to Shane Killian, because I'm still waiting on an apology from him for apologizing to his audiences about trying to mislead them with the 3028 telecast. But all the same, I apologize to my audiences for not taking that into consideration. So there we have it. This clip was slowed down by 33%. I've corrected my little error in Leapin Lunatics, and the fact remains that Shane Killian is guilty of trying to deceive his audiences by trying to pass off a clip as being too fast when it had already been proven to have been filmed in slow motion.
Now this is how the jump salute would have looked at normal speed before being slowed down by the method just described. Looks rather like it would on Earth, does it not?
I am a man who can admit when he's in error. And in the case of saying this Apollo 16 clip was slowed down to 50%, I am wrong. Because as we've just demonstrated, it was slowed down to 67%. Again, I apologise to my audiences, but I will not apologise to Killian. Because no doubt, even after I've amended my video, the propagandists will still desperately latch onto this one honest mistake as though it somehow damages my credibility. And I can prove it. During a debate with lawyer Svector, I admitted I had made a mistake regarding the playback speed. Svector knows this because he responded to that very message. And yet, he would later go on to state,
Jarrah maintains he made no mistake. Of course he knows he did, so he's a liar.
Like I stated in my previous video, the propagandists don't care how many lies they must tell in the process of defaming conspiracy theorists. And Svector is by far one of the worst offenders. Of course, this is not the first time the propagandists have tried to hold a one little mistake against me. Years ago, when I was debating with this individual from the Bad Astronomy forums, we were discussing the hammer and feather that David Scott supposedly dropped on the moon. During our discussion, I mistakenly said that a hammer weighs 500 kilograms. Of course, I had confused kilograms with grams. But even after I corrected myself, for years there was talk of 500 kilogram hammers. Insults such as, was he talking about a sledgehammer or maybe Thor's hammer? Both ApolloHoax.net and the Bad Astronomy forums are nothing but ridicule, and every last member of these two forums is shameless. As Dwayne Damon recently told Svector,
this isn't really about Apollo anymore. It's more about you unleashing your venom on your perceived enemies.